tal, amigos? Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and I'm very, very excited because today we have a special edition. We are going to go deep into MLS season number 30. 30 years of development on the most exciting league in the world. Maybe not, but for that, I have my trusty collaborators, Nik Z and Chiva, El Chiva Mayor, Julio Ramos. Are we entering into the golden age of MLS? That's going to be our show today. Nik, how are you today? Are you excited? Are you excited that Galaxy is still considered one of the top dogs in the league?
Yes, of course I am. I'm feeling this energy, for the Galaxy. We'll get into that a little bit later, but more broadly for the season, like you said, there is sort of this buzz in the air. So yeah, I'm feeling it. I know Chiva is too. Finally, Chiva's wearing a hat that I can actually support.
Chiva, how are you?
Pretty. Hey, I'm excited, man. 30 years already. It's a lot. It's a lot of years. But let me tell you, I don't think we're close to the golden era of MLS. We still got some road to go. There's still some things to fix, but it's getting exciting every year. It's changing. It's getting better every season. And we're at MLS 4.0. We want to get to a 10.
So many exciting things, Chiva. And one of the things that we need to remind our audience, one of the big changes this offseason was the introduction of a trade for money in MLS, something that was never done before, where teams can outright buy another player for cash. And one of the big movements of the season was Galaxy losing Jovelik, and another one, Cincinnati losing Luciano Acosta, the building block of their team. Chiva, how do you feel that that this new way of teams to assemble each other when they can go actually after a golden piece of another team and just buy it for them is changing the game in MLS?
Well, we all know that something holding back the MLS is definitely money. The minute the MLS, removes the salary cap and makes it more exciting when it comes money wise, we're gonna see this league grow even more than what it has grown right now. So this move that you mentioned is very important because it doesn't go to their salary cap. It helps the teams to be able to bring somebody like Luciano Acosta, and he's not gonna go towards their salary cap. So that's pretty good. That's a really good move, and that's what we want to see. We want to see more DPS. We want to see more players that make more money and that bring the level up.
Nik, how do you think teams like Galaxy need to prepare themselves for this new era in MLS?
Not win. No, I'm joking because a lot of people say that the better you do, the more you're punished by these kinds of rules. But look, at the same time, to Chiva's point, this is meant to sort of create this transfer market within the MLS that's up there with international norms, incentivize players and keep talent within the league, if not within, specific teams. And it hurts when we think about creating dynasties, like I would like to see with my team, but it does help keep talent within the league itself. And I think at the end of the day, that's what MLS is trying to struggle with right now. It's like growing the league, right? That is growing this league and building up. And so I think at its core, there are some sacrifices that teams have to make for this bigger picture, I guess, that this nation's football league is trying to accomplish.
Let's remind everybody that one of the founding principles of MLS is parity, right? This league was created
Yeah.
under the principle that every team should have a chance to win. And that brings us to our next point today. Chiba, you are not only a fan, you're an expert on all things LAFC. Tell me, how does it feel? Does it feel that it's true or is just part of the hype that sometimes we enjoy as part of the LAFC fandom? But does LAFC is truly prepared to take it all this season?
Look, man, we have a general manager like John Torrington that year after year he keeps delivering amazing players. He brings these players like Mateusz Bogusz that nobody knew about him. He made some money. Buanga, nobody knew about him. He's killing it in the MLS. So John Torrington, it's doing pretty well. I have a lot of faith in him. And him we trust. Right now, we just got this guy from Turkey. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but it's Cengiz Under. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, but from what I read, from what I hear, he's an amazing player. We're adding this young talent to the team, and man, LAFC is gonna be good this season because Jesus Igor, this guy from Turkey, the little kids like Martinez are stepping up, Joris on the back. I mean, it's still a strong team, even though we lost like 15 players. It's a very competitive team with Marky Delgado and all those guys coming in.
Yeah, we see a team that has proven players in every line. We have Evo Beast at the front that came from San Jose. We have players that came from many different teams. But like you said, Thornton has an ability to put together teams that seem unlikely on paper, but year after year they stay in the competition. Now we're gonna skip Seattle because no one here really likes them, and we're gonna go to Galaxy because I am curious to know, Nick, if Galaxy is going to be able to repeat that incredible season that they had, where they were first place in the Western Conference for most of the season to the very last moment where LAFC snatched the first place. But now, to be honest, Galaxy was the best team in the West last season. Are they going to repeat?
That's a really good question. And I simply, along with everyone else, have absolutely no idea. But I suspect it's going to be the opposite. We're going to have a shaky beginning of the season. And then when our star Ricky Puig comes back, hopefully sometime in the summertime, I can have a better answer for you. And I could really tell you how we're going to be. But for right now, I think it might be a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a shaky start. But I'm still pretty confident in my team. Yes, we've lost some key players, unfortunately, for various reasons. Some because of injury, that's temporary, like Ricky, but others like Dejan Jovic. But I'm so confident in my team. It's going to be a very different Galaxy either way. I do know that.
A lot of new faces in a lot of teams, and that brings me to who do you guys think are going to be the dark horses in this season? In the West, Chiva, who is your candidate to surprise everyone?
I think for everybody now, it's San Jose, man. With everything they have, like, Bruce Arena, Chicho Arango, Martinez, all these players that he brought in from New England. San Jose, I think everybody's putting their money on San Jose this season because they're building a pretty good team. And not just because of the players, but most of it because of the coach, man. Bruce Arena is one of the best coaches in the history of the MLS, and he's with San Jose. So that's why I think they're a great contender.
I am very, very excited for all the upsets that San Jose is going to bring to the Quinielas week after week, because I have a hint that if you want to make some money, you should be putting a little cash on San Jose winning it all, because they were last place last season and they have a good chance to surprise everyone. And now we're going to talk about these green guys, the Seattle Sounders, that have spoiled not only LAFC, but also Pumas. So I personally, have beef with that team, but that's one of the classic quintessential winning teams of MLS. I have to recognize game when I see it. And Seattle has one of the best teams in MLS. They brought Jesus Ferreira and Paul Acosta from Dallas, really breaking that team apart and bringing them to Seattle, which was already strong. We have, players that have been there for a long, long time. They know the system, a coach that has been with the team forever. So do you guys think that Seattle is going to go back to that strong team that was able to win it all? Or we're going to continue to see that hot and cold seasons that they've been having lately?
That's a really good question. We'll have to find out. I wouldn't bet against Seattle Sounders. They're a very strong team. But you know what? There's so much talent coming out of the West right now, and it's so exciting. Like, for example, San Diego FC. With expansion life comes a lot of surprises, and it could either be like a boom or it could be a total bust coming out the gates on your first season. And I, as a Galaxy fan, I'm looking forward to match day 1 against San Diego, and I want that to be like this new rivalry regionally, right? I think that would be amazing for the league. It'd be amazing for Southern California more specifically, but like San Diego too, coming out of the woodworks with a brand new team, that's like if we talk about dark horses, it doesn't get any more dark horse than that when you have absolutely no history behind you. You got hype, you got some big names. I'm excited to see that.
Thank you, Nick. And we have to go on a break, but we will be right back here on LatiNation Football Club. We are talking about MLS season number 30, and we'll be back with the best of the Eastern Conference.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh! The whole Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You watch playoff games. The playoffs are all that matter, and the league's got an issue. They just don't want to admit it. They brag about how huge they are, how global they are, ratings are through the roof, profits are through the roof. I mean, between the NBA and NHL lying about their ratings and the money they make, I'm sick and tired of it.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I guess this is the battle for second place in the NBA's MVP. It's been Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was like minus 250 a couple months ago. Then last month it was 3-1. He is now up to minus 440 here.
Voter fatigue is a real thing, but there is a chance for him to maybe go on a hot tear, go on a stretch that maybe opens the conversation back up a little bit. I wouldn't say Shai's completely out of the woods just yet.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club, and we are very excited because we are talking everything about MLS season number 30, and that's why I'm here with Nik Z and El Chiva Mayor, and we are breaking down everything that you need to know. And now it's turn of the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is dominated by Miami. Chiva, do you feel like they are obligated to win it all? Do they have everything that they need to become the next dynasty at MLS?
No, they don't. I mean, I don't think they're gonna become the next dynasty. I think they're obligated to win something, definitely. I mean, with the players that they have, since the minute that Messi, wore the Miami jersey, that's it, man. They're supposed to win everything. They haven't. Last season they won the Supporters Shield, and Atlanta kicked them out of the contender for the MLS Cup. They're definitely a strong team. They are top contenders to winning the MLS Cup and the Supporters Shield. But I mean, it's the MLS, it's football. We saw it last season. Anything can happen, and in the Eastern Conference, there's some teams that can give them some trouble for sure.
The one that most people think about as the direct competitor and the challenger to Miami, it's Columbus, one of the powerhouses of MLS. Do you think that they will topple Miami?
Oof. That's hard, okay? Especially right now. So Columbus has a little bit of trouble, I think, coming down the pipeline for them. Cucho left for El Betis. That's going to hurt them, obviously. That's not what they want to see happen. So with him gone, that's going to be sort of this ever-present worry for their coach. But look, obligation. You use the word obligation with Miami, and it's exactly that. There's so much pressure on them. There's so much pressure on Mascherano, this star-studded team, to come out. And that actually might be what defeats Miami. It might be their own pressure. They might shoot themselves in the foot. Look, I don't want to minimize what they did last season. It's not, a small feat to win the Supporters Shield, to come out of the season with 74 points, like the most of anyone ever. So look, they achieved something that's either going to really help them or that's really going to crack them under the pressure. So we're going to see, are they going to come out guns blazing, or are they going to crack like Humpty Dumpty? I don't know. That's a really good question. $1 million question.
Another team that is in the Eastern Conference and that I'm confident that will be the spoiler for both Miami and Columbus is Atlanta. They went ahead and did the record signing of Emmanuel Latte, a very, very exciting forward that I think is gonna just dominate the league in every statistic. I think he's gonna come out swinging. But not only that, they put together a team that is really deep, that has two or three players in every position, and that stadium, when it's engaged with their fans, I think is the most difficult venue in all of MLS. Just the sheer size of the stadium makes, and I'm an LAFC fan, and the energy and the pressure from the fans, it's felt by for the players that come to your BMO. But when you go to the Mercedes Benz, 70,000 people shouting against you, that is a pressure that is not experienced by MLS players. So my money is on Atlanta. But there's other teams. What other teams do you feel like really have a chance to be a surprise on the East?
I mean, you already mentioned obviously Columbus and Miami. Cincinnati is one of them, but I think the real dark horse from the Eastern Conference is going to be Chicago. Chicago, I think for the first time in a lot of years, are building a very strong team. They're just coming back. I think most of the MLS teams are trying to do that, but Chicago is doing pretty good. They look good on the Coachella tournament, and I think that they are going to be a dark horse of the East for sure. I have no doubt that they're going to probably be on the top four.
It's always good when a coach has complete control over the organization, especially on the rebuild moment of this organization. This is a proven coach, former U.S. national coach, and I feel like he has all the tools that he needs to put this team back on its glory. Nick, what is your pick for dark horse on the East?
All right, we've gone over them already. I'm going to try to choose something a little different. If we're talking about like having a little rebuild moment, I think maybe Orlando could come out and make some surprises now. They have nothing to lose. Charlotte too, we'll have to see. It's going to be a really interesting season.
Now, this is going to be a controversial question. I don't want to pile on anyone, but in all of MLS, who are going to be the ones that struggle the most? Who's going for the wooden spoon? Who's going to go and have a single-digit season in MLS, guys?
I can definitely see Salt Lake in the West Conference. They don't have Chichorango anymore. So I think Utah is gonna get the wooden spoon in the West, and in the East. I mean, it's because there's so many to pick from. I think Montreal is gonna be another team that is not gonna be successful this season.
Yeah,
what about you?
I was thinking that too for Montreal for the East. I hate to say it. I don't want to jinx anybody, but like I said, San Diego coming out of the gates could either be a boom or a bust. It could equally be a bust. They could lose. They could fail to find that rhythm needed. And things could go, the wrong way for them as well. We'll have to see. What about you, Monse?
I think that the prize for the worst organization and the least amount of points in a season is going to go directly to Toronto FC, a team that is in complete disarray. They clearly don't know what they're doing. They have one of 3-4 years ago, they brought 3 top players straight from the Italian league, and they spent at that moment record numbers for each one of them. Walt Bradley went and ended his career there, and now he spoiled a really important legacy that he formed with LAFC. He thought that he would redo it on Toronto, and I think that everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So Toronto is definitely my pick for the team that is going to struggle the most, and also for an organization that is clearly in need of a revamping, new ownership, and a whole new program. And with that, we close our MLS preview for season number 30. We're very excited, but we got to go on a break. We'll be right back here in LatiNation Football Club with everything you need to know about Champions League and the upcoming MLS game for match day 1. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in LatiNation Football Club.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. You know, they can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I talked about AZ Fun a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in a conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I feel when I look at this Arizona team, I don't take them serious as a national title threat because you're asking Caleb Love to bottle magic that I just don't even think exists.
4.4, 6.6, 7.4, 7.7, 7.8. This guy is literally taking, he'll shoot you out of games, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club, and we are very excited because we are going to talk about the best tournament in the world, Champions League, and it was such an exciting week with soccer and some very painful losses. Chiva, talk to me. How destroyed are you to see Milan after that glorious first-minute goal from El Chaquito, Santi Jimenez, showing how he's going to become the next promise for the Rojinegro? Are you sad?
Look, man, it's sad to see that one player can change the entire, the entire game for not being smart. I think they made 2 terrible mistakes, and that cost Milan, the elimination. The fact that they started winning 1-0 on the 52nd, not even the minute, it showed promises. They were playing okay. I think the coach made a huge mistake by taking out Santi Jimenez and Pulisic too soon. He should have waited a little bit longer. That's just my humble opinion. Yeah, sad because I wanted Santi to go to advance more within the Champions League. But at the end of the day, it's football, and Feyenoord showed up, and they show that anybody can surprise anybody when it comes to football.
What a lovely match. If you were a Feyenoord fan, they fought hard. And I think there was a little extra motivation, right? Like if your former player scores on you on the first minute, the team pulled together. And this is a team that, that is based on the collective effort, not on the stars. And that's why they form players like Santi, right? They know how to play for the team, and that's what a good player does. Nick, let's talk about the inevitable. The reality hit Manchester City hard. The reality is here, and is that they are no longer an elite team, at least not in the current form. How about Mbappe? Tell me your impression of the Real Madrid-Manchester City game.
I mean, Mbappe was owning the whole Man City back line. There's nothing you can say. I don't care who you're supporting. Mbappe was unstoppable, but not just Mbappe. Can we talk about how amazing Rodrigo's passing and decisions are? He's absolute baller. I don't know. I mean, everything just went right for Madrid that game. They were just playing absolutely amazing, and you could see the exact opposite for Man City. They couldn't get anything done. They were struggling, and I don't know. I mean, it's the leadership, and it's a top-down kind of issue that needs to be dealt with. But yeah, no. Real Madrid played beautifully executed. They tore them apart surgically.
I was hoping that Milan made it through and was, that Cinderella story to come back to the glories, but that's not the case. So my next bet is gonna be on PSV and also on Feyenoord. I think that after that victory that they had, they will be very, very, very excited to show that they can go deep, playing organized, playing as a collective force instead of trying to rely on a big player. But this is going to be very, very exciting what's coming up. Round of 16, we will have every analysis beforehand, so you are well prepared to watch this game with the most excitement. Guys, that's all the time that we have for today. I'm very happy to have you guys sharing your knowledge and your insight. MLS season 30 is going to start with a bang. Quickly, 3 games. Chiva, LAFC is playing Minnesota. Who's going to win?
LAFC 4-1.
Oh, starting strong. Now, Nick, you have one of the most exciting games. Actually, the first game of its kind, the Sunday night game, a new invention of MLS and Apple TV, where the hype game of the week is going to happen on Sundays instead of Saturday with the rest of the games. You get that Galaxy against San Diego. What are your predictions?
I think Galaxy is going to give San Diego a very warm welcome to the MLS with a sweet 2-0 win. They're going to use that momentum. They might be missing some key players, but we're going to use that momentum and teach San Diego, how things are done here in the MLS.
I hope Galaxy shows them that this is not a playground. But I also hope that they lose because
first hat trick.
Hey, because if they lose, it's going to spell, a lot of nervousness, a lot of trouble for Galaxy going into it. So I'm just hoping that, we stay on top and don't embarrass ourselves.
A big game nonetheless. And in the East, I'm going to go and choose a winner for the Miami-New York City game. And I'm going to say Miami. Miami is obligated to win 3-1 on this game. They have to show power up front, but they also need to be balanced, something that they've struggled with, but they're going to win 3-1. So that you got it, the first 3 games of the season that we think you have to watch this weekend. LAFC versus Minnesota, Galaxy against San Diego, the newcomers, and Messi and company, Miami facing New York City Football Club. And with that, we close this edition of the best TV show in sports, LatiNation Football Club. Nick, Chiva, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next week here in LatiNation Football Club, where we're going to have the very best reactions to the match day number 1 of MLS and so much more here in LatiNation Football Club.
I talked about AZ Fun a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in a conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You watch playoff games. The playoffs are all that matter, and the league's got an issue. They just don't want to admit it. They brag about how huge they are, how global they are, ratings are through the roof, profits are through the roof. I mean, between the NBA and NHL lying about their ratings and the money they make, I'm sick and tired of it.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast. only on SportsGrid.